All right, I think we are ready to go on this, and welcome everybody to LSSW 18. And this is the follow-on from the one we did back in July, and the findings and recommendations from that are on the LSSW 17 website. And what we're doing is using those findings and recommendations to start this particular workshop. Last one was defining a coordinated lunar resource evaluation campaign, and this one is implement. How do we implement such a campaign? So we have very few talks this time, but we do have a couple of panels, and the panels are important because this is where we want the audience to ask questions. We have an international partners policy and space law panel, and we have a stakeholders panel that will take up most of the time because we want a discussion rather than lots and lots of talks. So the goals of this particular meeting are to highlight the issues that need to be considered when implementing a coordinated lunar resource evaluation campaign, and hopefully devise some methodologies to address those issues, and then develop implementation strategies for this resource evaluation campaign, focusing as we did in LSSW 17 on the volatile deposits at the poles of the moon. So a number of focusing questions, as you've seen when you went to the website. How will the campaign be managed? This is a critical issue if we're going to make this an international coordinated lunar resource evaluation campaign. Who participates and how? There's always the devil will be in the details. And how will the data obtained be used? Should there be an open data policy? Licensing and access needs to be defined, and who does that? So we're down in the weeds a little bit here, but this is part of, we know what needs to be done. Now we get to the how are we going to do it? And then how will working relationships be developed with entities not participating in the campaign? And what sort of policy precedents will this campaign set, both intentionally and serendipitously? So we're trying to look at the crystal ball to see, well, if we do this, what are going to be the consequences of those actions? So trying to be a bit forward thinking there. So this is the program. We have 3 hours, and as I say, we're starting off with a few talks. Yeah, you can see them laid out there, and then we get into the 2 panels, and we should be wrapped up by 1 p.m. Eastern time, so in a little under 3 hours from now. And again, those panels are where we want you to ask the questions that you have, because we can think of quite a lot of questions, but I'm sure not all of those are going to be asked. And at least we can get them registered in terms of these are the types of things that we need to be thinking about as we move this particular issue forward. So I'll be giving the first talk, followed by Salmeri and Schingler, and then Freeman, Kesley, Carl Hibberts, and Carlos Espagel is going to talk to us or give us the Cliff Notes version of Lunar Ore Reserve Standards. And found out 30 minutes ago he's been given permission to do this, so we're very lucky to have him participate with us today. And then we will have a Q&A, and then probably a 5-minute bio break before we dive into the first panel. That will be moderated by myself, and we have Gabriel Swiney, we have Jesse Kate Schingler, and Antonino Salmeri. They will be talking about international partnerships, policy, and space law. And then we get into stakeholder perspectives that Carl Hibberts will be moderating, and giving different perspectives on the evaluation campaign. And then we will wrap up with findings and recommendations. And as we did last time, I will be taking notes, and other people will be taking notes as we go through this, and I will be sending out those findings and recommendations for comment by the participants. So with that being said, then segue into the first talk, which is me.